So alright guys, today's project is going to be simple and fun. I'm going to be converting this lantern that utilizes 3 AA batteries to run off a single 5-volt cable. Now before we continue, for those of you wondering, no, this isn't one of those danger lanterns. You can bathe with this thing just fine and you probably won't die. It's not one that has a AC plug-in, it's just a cheap Harbor Freight lantern that I wanted to run a little bit longer and for a little bit harder than just by running it off the AA batteries alone. Now with everything said, this lantern probably can run just fine off of 5 volts standard without the diode drop, but we're going to be adding a diode in just to drop the voltage from 5 volts, give or take, to around the 4.6 that this thing actually requires. But with that said, first things first, how do we modify this thing? That way when we open it, the light still comes on just like it originally would. Well, the first thing you got to do is open up the device and figure out where you want the hole to go for the wire. I'm going to be using this thin pointy object right here. Let me just get out of the way. I'm going to be using this pick and this simple induction heater circuit that I have made previously that I will have up for a video either before this video comes out or after. I'm going to use this induction heater to heat up my pick and just poke a hole straight on through. This should give me a nice clean result since this is just a plastic lantern, but feel free to use a drill if you have a small enough drill bit available, and if it's metal, that's probably the way I would go, is use a drill bit. I only used the induction heater because it will melt the plastic afterwards and make it look like this was actually standard. It won't leave any burrs and overall it will just look nice. But with that said, once we got our hole made, we can shove our wire on through. As you can see, it fit in just fine. Now from here, I'm going to take the 2 leads from the 5-volt cable. One's positive, one's ground. It's pretty standard. All I'm going to do is hook up a diode to one of the cable leads. In this case, the positive. Make sure it's going the right direction. And then I'm gonna actually hook up right into the original connections. Now since this thing is properly labeled, what I'm gonna do is connect the positive of my 5-volt lead right up to the positive where the terminal would go for the AA battery. Now when it comes to the ground side, it's a little bit different, but nonetheless the same. Once I got my connections made, we can put this thing back together and give it a test. Now because of the way I did this, you could theoretically still power this from the batteries if you wanted to, but since I'm not doing that, I'm taking the batteries out. Alright, now that I'm nice and blind from the B-roll, I'm going to leave today's video off here. I hope it really helped you out, and if you need any help doing this particular mod to the lantern that you have, let me know in the comments down below and I'll try to get you in the right direction. But for the time being, I'm going to leave today's video off here. TTPK signing off. Peace. Switch up all the way. Once your switch is definitely charged, I'd like to say give it a back. Download the amont.zip. From here, we want to navigate into the folders and find it bootrom-